Ladies and gentlemen, it is a distinct honor and a privilege for me to introduce our next keynote speaker, Dr. Mary Elka Pangestu. She is Minister of Trade, Minister of Tourism, and Creative Economy. She's the only one of two ministers in the world to actually hold that title, Creative Economy, and she'll explain a little bit more what she means about that title means in a moment. But allow me first to say a few words of introduction about Minister Pangestu. Minister Pangestu obtained her Bachelor and Masters of Economics from the Australian National University and her PhD in Economics from the University of California, Davis, in the United States. Her fields of specialization are international trade and finance, with a regional focus on ASEAN, China, and the Asia-Pacific. Until now, she is an external lecturer in international economics at the University of Indonesia, Depok. Minister Pangestu is currently a member of the advisory board of Global Competitiveness Forum, which is run by the World Economic Forum, and a member of the network of Global Agenda Councils from the period of 2010 until 2011. The councils represent the world's foremost integrated intelligence network of innovative thinking and idea exchange on global issues. Prior to her assignments as the Minister of Trade in the first and second United Indonesia Cabinet, Minister Pangestu was a member of the governing board of the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Jakarta. She's also an adjunct professor at the Australia-Japan Research Center, the Australian National University, and Canberra. From 2002 until 2004, she was the co-coordinator of the Task Force on Poverty and Development for the United Nations Millennium Project, established by the UN Secretary General. In 1992, together with her colleagues, she established Yazian Sarati, a foundation that supports initiatives in the socio-cultural and environmental area. As part of her achievement, she received awards from the Australian National University Master's Scholarship from 1979 until 1980, University of California Regents Fellowships from 1983 until 1984, and from Eisenhower Exchange Fellow Individual National Program in 1990. Minister Pangestu is an active member of international seminars, including regular participants in the World Economic Forum. She's also a member of the Global Leaders for Tomorrow from 1999 until 2003. After holding her post as Minister of Trade for 7 years in the first and second United Indonesian Cabinet, Minister Pangestu was appointed as Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy in October 2011. Minister Pangestu is married to Adi Hosono and has two sons, Raymond Birna and Haroso, and Ara Alexander Harosono. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor and a pleasure to have the chance of having the minister here with us today. I believe that before she speaks, we have a special musical interlude from also a special musician who has just arrived also from Jakarta. So I'd ask you maybe to give a brief welcome first for the musician, and then shortly thereafter we can give a second welcome to the minister. So thank you very, very much, and we're honored to have you here, Mr. Pangestu. Thank you.
I'm not sure you want to listen to me after you listen to this beautiful musical instrument that was just being played, but I'll try my best. But it is actually the right introduction to the topic of today, which is all about the creative economy and how we can use creative economy as really soft power or cultural diplomacy, which is, I think, one of the pillars of what ICD is all about. So what you have just heard is really a Western instrument. A harp is a Western instrument. Maya Hassan, one of our talented musicians, she learned in America. She went to the School of Music in America, but what she played was Indonesian songs. The first song was actually a very nationalist song for your country. And the second song is a folk song about how you should not lose your chicken. It's a folk song, but chicken is the symbol of livelihood for Indonesians. So how you should take care of your chicken and not lose it. But she has also composed songs for the harp based on Indonesian music. So that is actually what the creative economy is about. It's taking different ideas, different technology, different traditional as well as creative capital and existing ones, and then combining it in a creative way to create something which is more value added. And today you're also actually getting another part of our soft diplomacy, which is the culinary delights of Indonesia. I hope you've also had some refreshments on that front. So what is the creative economy? I like my new job when I was the trade minister. If you had listened to thank you, Mark, for your very long introduction. That was kind of unnecessary. You might have wondered, what is this international trade economist doing talking about creative economy? When I was in the trade ministry, life was quite different compared to where I am now. Having this new portfolio actually is a very great conversation starter, because they always say, what is the creative economy? What is this portfolio that you have? So I'll try to explain it to you very briefly, and then I hope we have some time for some question and answer. It is actually what people call the fourth wave in economic development. After agrarian-based development, industrialization, and the knowledge and information-based economy, then you have the creative economy. Why is it different from knowledge and information-based economy? It's basically knowledge and information is the raw material or the input to the creative economy. The creative economy is the ability to take knowledge, ideas, creativity that exists. It doesn't have to come up with something new, but to combine it in a creative way to become something which has value added. So it is really how you use your, and this knowledge is embodied in the people. And how do you create that as value added? I'll give you two examples. One is a non-Indonesian example. You take the iPod. The iPod is not a new technology per se. It is taking three different technologies that already existed and then putting it together and creating an iPod. You know, someone called Steve Jobs had this great idea. He took existing technologies, he worked with it, and he came up with a new technology, combined technology, which became the iPod. That's creative economy. For Indonesia, actually Maya Hassan is an example. She has learned the harp, which is a Western instrument, and then she told me yesterday when she told people, "Oh, I'm from Indonesia and I play the harp," and they said, "Oh, you must be jobless." People wouldn't listen to the harp in Indonesia. That's totally wrong, because once you create the harp, which is a Western instrument, and you play Indonesian songs in the beautiful way she did, you've created something different, something new with value added, which in the end is very much appreciated and has very, very high value in Indonesia. There are many examples like that. I'm just giving you an example to put in your mind what is really creative economy and what is creative industries. And creativity is not just artistic based, but also based on science, engineering, innovation, and IT based. I don't know whether you can see the rather small PowerPoint up there, but I like this picture because creative industry is not just the dancers, the performing arts, the contemporary arts that you see, but it's also that geeky looking guy at the bottom there who's doing maybe video games or animation or creating the mobile platforms that we all use. And let's compare the workers in the second wave, which is industrialization. The workers in the factories that is in the first picture coming out of the factory, they don't look very happy, right? Because every day what they're doing is in the factory, using routine work every day, doing the same thing. Whereas if you look at the workers in the creative industries, they're all smiling because they're enjoying what they're doing. It's very much part of the creative industries. Why is Indonesia, why is our government, as a government, decided to promote the creative industries? Because Indonesia is a very, very rich country in terms of the knowledge base and the cultural heritage that it has to build a creative economy and creative industries, including a very large domestic market. I don't know how much all of you know about Indonesia, but Indonesia is a very large country. We have 17,000 islands. We have, out of which 6,000 are inhabited. We have 240 million people with 300 ethnic tribes, 742 language and dialects. We have more water than we have land. It's a very marine-based country. 8 of the World Cultural Heritage Sites are in Indonesia. And we stretch over 3,000 kilometers, these 3,000 islands. Unfortunately, Bali is a bit blocked here, but Bali is only one island out of the 6,000 islands that are inhabited. We have many, many islands and many, many places in Indonesia, each with their unique cultural heritage. And this is really the basic raw material for the creative industries. In the World Competitiveness Index for Tourism, we are ranked number 39 for cultural heritage and strong creative industries out of 139 countries. What are creative industries? Many countries define it differently. Some countries call them culture industries or copyright industries. One of the countries which is quite advanced in developing creative industries is the UK and Korea. And we have somewhat followed their example, especially the UK. The only other country which has a Ministry of Creative Tourism is creative economy is the UK. We've adopted this very broad definition to include advertising, architecture, art and art galleries and antique market, handicraft, design, fashion, film, video and photography, interactive games, music, performing arts, publication and printing, computer and service software, radio and television, research and development, and culinary arts. These are the 15 subsectors which we have classified as creative industries in Indonesia. Other countries have defined it differently. We are, some of them are in a better development than others, but this is our whole gamut. These are some of the faces of our creative industries, and they're all, what's distinctive about them? They're all mainly young, because 50% of Indonesians are below 29 years old. So we have a large stock of creative young people, as well as they are also the market for us. This is the demographic structure of Indonesia, with 50% below 29 and 40% in the productive population of 15 to 45. Really the market and the creative human resources, because the main input to a creative economy is your human resources. The other exciting thing about Indonesia, which is happening worldwide, but for some reason in Indonesia it's like a huge exponential development, especially in the last 2 or 3 years. Despite being a very large country and stretching across 3,000 kilometers, Indonesians are very interconnected through the fact that they are all connecting through the mobile phone. So Indonesia has a low internet penetration rate when you talk about directly through the fixed line and the computer, but they are very connected through the mobile platform. We have 250 million cell phone subscribers, so it's more than 100% penetration rate. We are the second largest Facebook user in the world after the US, 42.8 million people. The third largest Twitter user at slightly over 7 million. Don't know how many of you are Twitter users, but we are often in the trending topic, sometimes for the right reason, but hopefully most of the time for the right reasons. And how do you explain, and YouTube also is one of the things that happens a lot in Indonesia. Largest growth in BlackBerry and smartphone use. Again, it's the demographics, it's the culture of ngerumpi. Ngerumpi is a very local Indonesian word, but Indonesians just like to hang around in coffee shops or anywhere and talk and chat. And so the social media, that's my own explanation without having done the actual anthropological or sociological study of why social media has taken off in Indonesia. And I think the other reason is because we are a democracy. We have freedom of expression. We have been a full democracy since 1999. We had the first directly elected president in 2004. We have direct elections all the way down to the village head. And also the sharp decline in the cost of the devices as well as cost of connectivity. So, you know, freedom of, as I always tell people, Indonesia has become a normal country. We have a very noisy parliament. We have a very noisy media who won't let any of us as government officials get away with anything. And the moment you say something, it goes viral, you know, on the Twitter, or, you know, it's lots of discussion on the Twitter. So we have really this exponential growth in connectivity, which is really transforming the way you do business, transforming the way people communicate socially. It transformed all politicians, if they haven't really figured out how to use the social media, you know, they're like behind the times. So we use it also for policy platforms. So it's really a big revolution in Indonesia, and that's part of the creative economy because a lot of the content that goes in there, or the way you do business, is a part of the content that goes in there. And most of the social networking sites are experiencing lapsed users. So if you use Facebook, you're also using YouTube, you're also using Twitter, and lots of active users in social networking. Why is the creative economy important? There are 6 reasons. And as the economist, I will begin with the economic reason. And this is important because of the economic contribution. And it is the way I can get my budget from the Minister of Finance to explain why this is important and why you should give us a big enough budget. It's 7% of the GDP, it's 10% of exports, and it is 7% of employment. And let me see. For the world, the U.S. creative economy contributes 11% to the U.S. economy and contributes 8.5% to its employment. I'm trying to find Germany in here. I can't find Germany here, but let's take Netherlands for an example. 5.9% contribution to GDP and 8.8% to employment creation. So, you know, Hollywood in America, that's creative economy, and all the Silicon Valley IT-based industries, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, they're all really part of the creative economy, and we know what that's done for the US. The second reason why creative economy is important is nation branding and identity. And this is really where I think cultural diplomacy, soft power is very important. If you talk about nation branding, people talk about how nation branding is created through tourism, exports, government, investment, immigration, culture and cultural heritage, and the people. And Indonesia's rich and diverse culture diversity is really the source of its nation branding and identity, and really a source. Once you have icons in your creative economy, it makes you proud to be from that country. You know, if you take, okay, Americans should be proud that they have Bill Gates, they have Steve Jobs, they have Mark Zuckerberg. The Brits are proud to have the Beatles. You know, what's a good German example? Give me a good German example of a creative economy icon. Anybody? Huh? Yes, football player. Yes, even sport. In some countries include sports as part of the creative economy. Look at the soft power and cultural diplomacy that has hit in a big way in Asia and is about to penetrate Europe and US. It's the K-pop. Have you all heard of K-pop? Korean pop. They call it Hallyu. It's the Korean wave. And it's incredible. It's really just a very well-trained group of young girls who sing with synchronized dancing. And it's a big, big wave in Asia. And I was told they are now having some kind of competition in New York for a K-pop competition. And you don't even know the lyrics that you are singing. It's in Korean. But you should see it in how much of a big wave it's had on Indonesia and how much it's raised Korea as a country. Yeah, I'm just giving you examples. So nation branding and identity and the use of culture, I think it's not new, but we are seeing it now formulated in many ways. The power of music and film as creative industries on the way a country gets elevated and seen in the outside world is quite incredible. It can be a film that's shot on location in your country, like James Bond movie to Bangkok, or Petronas Power because Matrix was shot there, or my favorite example is actually The Sound of Music. 40 years after The Sound of Music was filmed, Austria is still getting tourists because of The Sound of Music. You know, that's how powerful this can be. A third reason is that creative economy or creative industries are using renewable resources. It's very environmentally sustainable because it is based on knowledge, ideas, and innovation. The main input are the people, the innovative and creative people. And we have seen quite an interesting development in Indonesia. I'm giving you an example here. If you take a piece of wood, a piece of log, it becomes firewood. It takes you 2 hours to chop it into firewood, and it's worth 60 cents. But the moment that piece of log is used to make wooden staplers, you can get 200 pieces of wooden staplers crafted by handmade, by handy craftsmen. It takes them 40 work days, and it's worth $1,000. You can ask the question, you as the craftsman and the village people who are working and getting income from this, are you going to take care of the log? Yes, because it is your livelihood and it is your input, and that's really the best way to have sustainability. And we found a big wave since supermarkets got rid of plastic bags and paper bags even to carry your supermarket goods. We are seeing a big wave of the use of waste product, like the back of toothpaste, the billboards that you see on the roadside. What happens to them after they're no longer used? You can turn them into bags, you can turn them into laptop bags, phone bags, backpacks. This is created what I've called the green creative industries in Indonesia. And I've seen also sculptures being made from disposable Coke and 7-Up cans and so on and so forth. The fourth reason is it creates value added from innovation and it's low investment and high return. Take batik, which is a traditional method of making cloth in Indonesia. I'm looking around, anybody wearing batik here? Today we are not wearing batik. I'm not wearing batik. I'm wearing something from northeastern Nusa Tenggara. Batik is cloth. You make the pattern by hand. You put wax and then you color it. That's really the basic method. But with the revolution of batik for young people and creative economy, batik is now put on denim. It's put on mixed together with other types of material so that young people will wear it. Once you have young people wear it, then you've got a huge market. Normally, we used to wear batik only for formal occasions. Low investment and high return. This is data from Korea. Korea is one of the more advanced countries in creating a creative economy. An average Korean company in creative economy puts about 400 million won, which is about US 429,000, to develop new technology, and about 20 million won or US 20,000 for designing projects. And the maximum return, assuming your product takes off, of course, is 9 months. So it's low investment, but the moment you get a hit, and this is a whole process of incubation, startup capital, how you develop entrepreneurship, you can get your return in 9 months. For your information, how did Bill Gates start? Bill Gates started Microsoft with $25,000, which he didn't get from his parents, even though his parents were quite rich, but he got it from a startup fund. That startup fund made a very good investment in Bill Gates. And that's how Microsoft started. What's another good example? Richard Branson. Richard Branson, who started Virgin Air. How did he start? He started out with $50,000 to convert. He started out in the music industry, if you remember, from his mother. So startup capital can be formal companies. It can in Asia normally it comes from your parents or from your friends. So this is the kind of thing that happens. The final benefit of creative economy, creative industries is that it has a positive social impact. It's quality of life and improving social tolerance. People who work in the creative industries are happy because they are doing it with their heart, with their minds. And it develops social tolerance across different cultures, ethnicity, religion, and age. If you take Indonesia as an example, the fact that each region now, the batik revolution, which has happened in the last 7 years, has created, every region now has their own batik, and they will wear it proudly. And even government offices, nationally and regionally, they've now made it that every Tuesday and Friday, we wear a national cloth. Yeah, it can be from your region, it can be outside of your region. And it helps understanding between regions, say in Indonesia. And if you talk about between countries, this is where culture diplomacy comes in. Take the K-pop as a start. K-pop is just an entry point. K-pop, everybody likes it. But as soon as you, that as an entry point, you want to know more about Korea, about its culture, about its people, about etc. So it's just an entry point, just like film and music does the same thing. So I think that's the main reasons why we have creative economy. And let me just close with what are the challenges. There's a very long presentation here, which I will give to you, and you can post on your website with all the numbers. I'll just close with the challenges for creative economy in Indonesia. We have 6 challenges that we have identified. One is the human resources, because the main input are the people. How can you develop people who will have the creative mindset? This is part of the curriculum that you have to have, the way you teach kids from very young to be creative in schools and institutions. And what has been an important challenge is maintaining and developing the traditional institutions that exist. You know, take cities outside of Jakarta. If you go outside of Jakarta to the smaller cities, it still happens today. From very young in Indonesia, it happens in many other countries, but in Indonesia, as an example, from very young, children are taught to dance, to sing, to do the cultural activities which are related to their particular locality. And we have to maintain that. And they're normally done in the community center or the village center. So we are putting a lot of attention as to how we can maintain that. Take a city like Solo. They have 500 dance community centers, each specializing in different dances, you know, and that's what we have to maintain. Or you take children in Bali. If you're a child in Bali, if you're a girl, you have to start dancing at the age of 5. And they will do all this, you know, the very specific Balinese movement, which is something which is taught from 5 years old. If you're a boy, you have to play the gamelan, the Bali gamelan music. And that's part of your growing up. It's your lifestyle. And that's why we have such a rich resource in terms of the people. Second, the business climate for creating creativepreneurs to be able to grow from a good idea to have financing, to have the good business plan. They have to be protected on their IPR. How can a very micro enterprise with no track record become a viable business? Tax and customs issue, etc. 3, how do you have appreciation for creative products and services in Indonesia? How do you prevent somebody from having a good idea and then creating a product and then somebody else just copies it? And then that's it, you know, they won't be able to get it. So how do you create the appreciation? 4th, internet penetration, accessibility to IT and other technologies, supporting infrastructure, including public space for the creative industries to grow. For developed countries like Germany, you take this for granted. But believe me, for us, it is a big challenge, and this is going to be one of my big challenges. How do you create community areas? How do you have galleries, museums, theaters, and retail space and creative zones in cities? I mean, this is my first time in ITB Berlin, and when I look at your convention center and your congress center and the museums and the opera houses you hear, I'm just so amazed, you know, and of course very, very envious that you have this infrastructure, which was created, I understand, in the 70s. It's just incredible, you know. This is the kind of thing we need to begin to develop in countries like Indonesia. The fifth, access to resources and inputs. The sixth, funding issue. This is always the big thing. Most of the creativepreneurs do not have access to the banks, and they won't, because banks have no idea how to put a value on ideas, on creativity. It's not a collateral that they can deal with. They have to appraise it. You know, how do you appraise a good idea for a film? So you need to have that bridging phase, whether it's a startup capital, venture capital, or countries like Korea or many other countries, they have what they call arts endowment, where they will provide seed capital to some of the new creative entrepreneurs that are there. So these are the things that we are, this is a new ministry, it's been only around for 4 months, but these are some of the issues, policy issues, institutional issues, human resource issues that we are dealing with. But we believe that this is a very strong competitive advantage for Indonesia, given our demographic structure, our cultural heritage, the fact that Indonesia is a democracy, freedom of expression. These are all strengths that we need to unleash and develop to become a strong creative economy, which can be a very, very powerful tool for cultural diplomacy, soft power, and to raise the whole image of Indonesia in the world. Because we do recognize that there is lack of knowledge and understanding about Indonesia in general, and creative economy and cultural diplomacy is going to be a very powerful way to do it. I'd like to thank you for giving me the time to share with you my thoughts, and I'll welcome any questions you may have. Thank you.